Hi, my name is Justin, and I'm here on behalf of Group 3 Consulting, and we're here today to talk about Moderna. Now, Moderna is a company that was founded in 2010, and they're a leading industry maker of RNA technologies, or RNA therapeutics. Now, one of the biggest issues facing Moderna today is the fact that they don't have a product on the market. This is an issue that we're going to be dealing with throughout this entire presentation. Now, Moderna was founded in 2010 and has since been a main leading competitor in the RNA market. They have managed to raise $2.5 billion in funds since their inception in 2010, despite the fact that they don't have a product in the market. This is unheard of in a therapeutical company. And many of those are due to the collaborations that they have seen with Harvard and other universities. Now, the RNA product and market is a large market that looks to take over current medicinal markets. Many pharmaceutical companies are now looking into RNA as a way to move forward in the pharmaceutical market. $3.84 billion is the market size potential market size for an RNA company such as Moderna. $1.2 billion of that is located in the United States alone. This is a market share that they're looking to penetrate currently at the moment. Globalization is an easy step after that. Once they do bring a product to market, globalization is the next logical step and an easy one to do since their collaborations are so worldwide. As you can see here from the stock analysis, ranging from since their inception in 2018 until current, they have maintained a steady market right around the $20 mark. Their price to earnings ratio unfortunately does look negative, does kind of look negative here as well, but that's just due to the fact they don't have a product to market. This isn't necessarily a negative aspect when looking at these, since they have been so consistent throughout that time. So one of the largest obstacles that we are facing at Moderna currently at the moment is just continuing to attain funding without having a product on market. But looking at other companies like Alnylam, who does have a product on market and grew 30% after they initially put that product on the market, it shows that it doesn't take a lot for a company, an RNA company, to jump and have that funding suddenly available once a product has been brought to market. And then I'm going to pass it over to Patrick.
Hold on.
Here we go.
All right, thank you. And now that we have a little history on the background of Moderna, we can talk about the mRNA industry and its leaders here at Moderna. This is our president, Stefan Hodge. He holds a medical degree from the University of San Francisco. Additionally, a Bachelor in Science of Neuroscience from Amherst College. Moving on to our CEO, we have Stefan Bancel, who's been the CEO at Moderna here since 2011. Additionally, he has a lot of experience at biomedical firms, being the old CEO of Biomiro, which is a biomed firm based out of France. In addition to these qualifications, he has various master's degrees, one being in engineering, one in chemical engineering, additionally to a business administration degree at Harvard University. To start with our board of directors, it is very diverse. Since we rely heavily on our company's ability to obtain financing through investors, we have quite a few who are within investment banking and that field. So to start, we have Noubar Afeyan, who's the co-founder of Moderna, and he's also the CEO of Flagship Pioneering, an investment firm. He's taken on his partner, Stefan Berenson, who has more than 33 years in investment banking, also a key player in obtaining financing. To help navigate the legality side, there's Peter Barton, who's been practicing FDA law, Food and Drug Administration, for you that may not know, since 1960. And lastly on this slide, we have Robert Langer, who's the most cited engineer in history. He has 800 patents within the pharmaceutical industry, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, etc. Moving on, we have Elizabeth Nabel. She is a certified cardiologist and is also the president of Harvard's affiliated hospitals. And just to solidify our heavy finance background, we have Israel Ruiz and Paul Sagan, and they are in charge of our debt and finance strategy. To close it out, we have Monsefs Louis. He is the chairman for Global Vaccines. And to tie it all together, since we have such a diverse board of directors here at Moderna, it helps us navigate the mRNA market, not only in research and development, but as well as the legality side and technologies. I'll pass it off to Savannah, who's going to talk about ethics and business strategy.
All right. So now that we've set up who's leading Moderna, they've also established the ethical standards that they want to set up for the company itself. And so in their book of ethics, they also have, they pointed out that the main thing they focus on is being truthful to their product and not being deceptive to the public, because it is a health-related cause. So they try to keep as untrue, misleading, not misleading, deceptive, or fraudulent. They want to stay away from all those words. So their business strategy is mainly working on the technology that's involved in research and development for these vaccines. The drug development process generally takes 10 to 15 years to get FDA approval. So their plan and their strategy is to produce as many as they can through the different steps of the trials in order to eventually get more than one product out there at the same time. Because they don't have any products right now, producing more than one, as many as they can, will increase their chances that they'll have successful products. And then, so their organizational structure is very much communication hierarchy, because communicating between the scientists and the management is very important, so that they're all on the same page in terms of how to run their company. They also have a centralized vertical management approach, because they do still follow that hierarchy, but they do need to communicate in between the different departments like research and development. Let's see. And then, so the industry itself is a $3.84 billion industry. CureVac is leading currently globally. Most of them focus on R&D. And then for the continental competition, they do, one of their biggest competitors is Alnylam, which is US based. And they're both on, the companies in the US are racing for FDA approval. And so the description of the industry, what Moderna mostly does is they get grants from governments and private companies in order to focus on rare diseases, infectious diseases, or focus on immuno-oncology. And then the PESTLE G analysis for Moderna is political. They really have to focus on the regulatory framework. FDA is very important, and also the politics that surround vaccines currently, they do need to focus on as well. Making sure that they stick to facts and getting their point across is very important. Economic is there are growing expenses in healthcare. Sociocultural, they have, it's a very entrepreneurial spirited company because they are funded by so many private investors. And also the aging population of our culture in the US will increase the needs for vaccines. Technologically, that's our main stance as Moderna. They really need to advance it to decrease costs. The more advanced their technology is, the less they have to charge for the products themselves. Legally, policies and regulations, they need to follow the policies of FDA in the US. It's very important to be compliant, otherwise their products won't get out to the consumer. And globally, for worldwide vaccines, everyone in the world needs vaccines, and so getting it out to the rest of the world is one of their main goals.
I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about Moderna's task environment and their CSR. As far as their customers go, as previously stated by my partners, Moderna does not have any products on the market. Therefore, they do not technically have any customers just yet. However, it is to assume that the customers they would have would be similar to those of other pharmaceutical companies. The end user, of course, being the patient, but the direct buyers would probably consist more of pharmacies, hospitals, clinics, and any other places that are qualified to distribute vaccinations. Okay, so because there are no customers, there's currently no revenue coming in from product sales. However, the majority of the revenue stream is coming in from government grants as well as investors and donators like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Moderna's suppliers are not publicly known exactly who they are. However, the suppliers consist of vendors who are providing them with their materials and all of their chemicals. Moderna is heavily reliant on the suppliers providing them with materials on time and chemicals that are pure and completely accurate. If the chemicals are not, or if things are delayed, then it is likely that research would come to a crashing halt and they would have to wait to continue until their materials are provided to them. As far as competitors go, BioNTech and CureVac are two of the primary leaders that are working on creating mRNA vaccine technology. CureVac is, however, a German company and will not be going through FDA approvals just yet. So the primary domestic competitor for Moderna is is BioNTech. And although these are competitors, they do meet annually and they do share research and development with one another because the ultimate goal is to provide patients with quality healthcare as quickly as possible. And that leads us into corporate social responsibility. As you can see in the diagram, there are many factors that go into their CSR policy. However, at the center of all of that is, of course, the patient. While they are focused on the patient, they want the goal of the company to be to provide the patient with the best healthcare possible and to leave a lasting impact on society as a whole, as well as to create a company culture that inspires, motivates, and creates a qualified workforce to develop these vaccines as quickly as possible. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Danielle. It's on here.
Cortis' 5 forces, there's going to be threat of new entrants, power of suppliers, power of buyers, threat of substitute products, as well as rivalry. When it comes to threat of new entrants, Moderna has a main competitor, which is CureVac. For power of suppliers, suppliers don't have much of a say in the pharmaceutical industry because there are so many options out there for third-party suppliers, so Moderna should never have to worry about this. Now, as far as power of buyers go, consumers are a great disadvantage point because pharmaceutical companies as well as medical institutions and insurance companies are looking at the for-profit aspect of it because they're looking to meet their own profit margins. So they're not looking for the best interest for the consumer, aka the patient. And also for the threat of substitute products, there's always going to be competition when it comes to expired patents. There's going to be copycats that are going to explode in the marketplace, so this is something to keep a note of, as well as counterfeit products that are going to resemble very much so the product / vaccine, and so this can actually hurt the reputation as well as profits for the company. Now, for rivalry, there's always going to be merging competitors. Right now, CureVac happens to be Moderna's main competitor, but there's also 2 other ones, which are Arrowhead and Regulus. So it's definitely something to understand that for rivalry, pharmaceutical companies are looking for the best of the best, so they're always going to be looking for high-level workers and leading researchers. So something to keep a note of. Now, for the Blue Ocean Pathways, we are looking across for alternative industries, for strategic groups, for complementary product services, for functional emotional appeal, as well as time, because we want to be in time for predicting the next scientific breakthrough. But now for this, it's important to know that for the Blue Ocean strategies. This is on pathway number 3, and it specifically talks about chain of buyers. So we are looking for pharmaceutical companies who are receiving patients and medical professionals, looking for medical professionals because that is where Moderna falls in. Now for value added, Moderna has a great competitive advantage when it comes to technology as well as capital in comparison to other pharmaceutical companies, and so it is important to know that even though costs are very expensive right now for development and research, but in the long run it will pay off because once the product is set in stone, the cost will be much lower. So the team is very confident that the product would be valued significantly higher in the long run. Now comparing CureVac and Moderna, CureVac is an European company and Moderna is an American company. CureVac has to fall under the standards, governmental standards, in which in this case happens to be EMA, the European Medicines Agency, and then for Moderna happens to be the FDA. Both of them have vaccines for mRNA and for mRNA cancer research, and both of them don't have products out just yet, but they will eventually. And it's also important to know that even though CureVac has a much lower annual revenue than Moderna has, they're still doing pretty good. Now for the interferon value chain analysis, there's 2 things to look at here. The primary and supporting aspects of it. For the primary, we're looking at research, development, operations, and quality assurance. And then for supporting, we're looking at financing, marketing, strategic management, and
after conducting a SWOT analysis, we suggest that Moderna's biggest strengths are their strategic funding techniques and their strong board of directors. And for their weaknesses, the weaknesses that most affect the company's progress is their FDA approval process and the lack of profit. Now, their collaborative work with competitors gives them great opportunity advantages. Their biggest threat is losing all the funding that they currently have at the moment. Moving up next to the BRIO analysis, Moderna has a valuable technological competitive advantage. Currently, at the moment, they do not have any vaccines or anything in the market, but they do have clinical trials for 21 vaccines that would be extremely hard to imitate due to their rigorous development and research. Overall, this organization has a very strong expansion opportunity. Regarding the analysis of relative cost, Moderna's main competitors' operation costs are for CureVac, which is one of the companies that they have as competitors, is $786,000 total operating cost. For Alnylam, they have $590,000 total operating cost. And for biotech, their main competitor, they have $453,000 operating cost. Now, regarding willingness to pay, Moderna is creating life-saving vaccines such as for cystic fibrosis, ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer, and many others. Therefore, the customer willingness to pay would increase dramatically. In conclusion, despite all the concerns about the FDA approvals and the profit-generating stakeholders are very optimistic, and they will continue to fund the research and development of all these vaccines. And also Moderna will continue to collaborate with their competitors to get the products into the market as soon as possible, and to improve the overall health of everybody that needs these vaccines. Given time, Moderna can be the leading company in the mRNA industry.